Imagine being born into a world where everyone around you speaks a language your body physically cannot access. No school exists for you, no interpreter, no community, just a family doing their best, pointing at things, pulling your hand, drawing shapes in the dirt. That was the reality for millions of people throughout history, and the question nobody asks is, what did they actually do? The earliest written record of hearing loss dates back to 1550 BC in ancient Egypt. The Ebers Papyrus documented deaf individuals, but offered no real solution, just a bizarre remedy involving bat wings and goat urine poured into the ear. In ancient Greece, Aristotle declared that deaf people were incapable of learning, full stop. That single statement shaped how entire civilizations treated deaf people for centuries, denied the right to own property, to marry, to sign a will under Roman law. They weren't seen as people with a different language. They were seen as people with no language at all. Here's what the history books miss. Deaf people didn't wait for anyone to invent a language for them. Researchers call it home sign, a spontaneous gestural system that deaf children invent entirely on their own, even with zero exposure to formal sign language. Not random gestures, structured, consistent, grammar emerging naturally from a brain that needs to communicate. Families built their own private systems. A tap on the wrist meant hurry. A hand across the throat meant danger. These systems lived and died with the individual, because with no schools and no deaf community to pass them on to, each one disappeared the moment that person did. In the Ottoman Empire, between 1500 and 1700, deaf servants in the royal court were considered unusually trustworthy, partly because they developed a sophisticated signing system that even hearing members of the court learned. Deafness, in that specific context, became an unexpected advantage. Everything began to shift in the 18th century, not because of a government, not because of medicine, but because of geography. On the island of Martha's Vineyard off the coast of Massachusetts, so many residents carried the gene for deafness that nearly the entire community, hearing and deaf alike, communicated in sign. Deafness wasn't a disability there. It was just another way of being human. That same principle, that when deaf people gather, language emerges, led a French priest named Abbé de l'Épée to open the world's first free public school for the deaf in 1771. Children arrived from across France, each carrying their own home signs. De l'Épée watched, listened with his eyes, and built upon what they already knew. Formal sign language wasn't invented, it was collected. Before anyone handed deaf people a language, they had already been building one, in kitchens, in fields, in royal courts and island villages for thousands of years. The silence was never empty.